Hi, I'm Gail of Shypanther and Friends. Really quick, I just stopped by to say hello and to thank you for visiting our channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button before you leave and always share. Now, if this is the first time you're checking us out, look through the videos. I've had several guests from all walks of life, and they all got started from one place, a passion. That's right, start from where you are. That's the whole reason that Shypanther and Friends exists, to empower, to uplift, and to educate. And I started all of that from a passion for radio. And once the pandemic hit, it kicked me over to video, and that's why I'm here today. But anyway, all I'm really trying to say is stay encouraged and believe in yourself and start from where you are. Take that passion to a new level. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
And it also, to me, it shows a total disrespect for the neighborhood or the community, that you would just throw somebody into that community and the community knows nothing about it.
Right.
Something's wrong with that picture.
It is, and extremely wrong. And one of the residents who lives in the building, because I was under the impression that only these paroled sex offenders were living there, but there's other people who were living there. And this woman said that she contacted the police and the alderman last July, and he's standing there. He had the nerve to say that his office was made aware of it last summer. That's a long time. It's almost summer again.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. Nothing happened until it hit the news.
And see, that's the other thing that we have to be more, and we even had a discussion about the media and the lack of information through the media that should be coming into our communities, and the fact that several of the more infamous media outlets that would report on things happening in the community, things that affect Black people, that we don't get. That there's no more Jet magazine, there's no more Ebony magazine,
Right.
There's no more Defender newspaper. All of that was a means of reporting local news. They reported national news also, but they did a lot of reporting of local news, and a lot of people would go to those magazines and outlets to get information about what was going on.
Right. And I think too, I'm sorry,
Go
Clarence,
ahead.
go ahead. I think you're right too. And a lot of, like, they moved to online, and a lot of people are not gonna look for their news online. A lot of older people are not gonna do it.
No.
So you're right. A lot of the information was in the local publications that served us, that talked about what was happening in our neighborhoods. But I think we've talked about this many, many times too. We have to hold our elected officials accountable. That alderman, there's no way that he didn't know all these people were being placed in his neighborhood. He had to know. And that's extremely serious. This man is a murderer. And I'm pretty sure, and when you read the articles about this, the police department was saying that where he's living is not that close to a school, is not that close to a playground and things like that. So it's kind of like, it's okay for him to be there. It's okay. It's not okay, because the whole process that it took for him to get there was wrong. So I think that means that he shouldn't be allowed to stay. That's what I think.
And why can't he be released in or close to the area that he came from initially?
Exactly.
Why does Crystal Lake get the opportunity to get rid of him, but then we're told, well, he has a right to
to be
to be
there.
there. He had a
Yeah,
right to be in Crystal Lake too.
exactly. Hmm.
So, if the rule applies in Inglewood, it should apply in Crystal Lake.
Right. And too, this truth in sentencing, um, that, well, I know you know all about that too, but that was put in place to eliminate these early releases.
Hmm.
And um, he got out in half the time. How do you, how do you, it just, I just don't understand. How are they weighing the crime with the punishment? How are they doing that? Because I think if you rape and kill anyone, especially a child, you shouldn't be out. You shouldn't be out. And then I've read some articles that were speaking up for the parolees or the convicted people, saying that well, they're staying in prison beyond their time because nobody wants to take them. So they're not being let out because they have nowhere to go. Um, but I mean, this might sound cruel, but if you kill somebody, I really don't care that you what I mean, you take them. You take them and put them in your neighborhood right by your family. You do it and
Hmm.
see how you feel about it.
Yeah, the each uh, my take on it would be that each incident should stand on its own merits, and I use the word merits rather loosely here,
Mm,
but I'm just saying uh, there should be in-depth discussion about anyone who is going to be let loose back in the community. That there should be community involvement, and the community should feel that if this person is going to be released, does he have some associates or some family or somebody that
mm-hmm,
he can connect to that can help him to transition into being maybe a productive citizen? Because uh,
mm-hmm,
our penal institutions do not prepare people to come out and be productive citizens.
mm-hmm.
See,
Right,
they don't prepare them for that.
right,
So many times they come out and they got the same attitude they had when they went in,
when they, yeah,
or worse, or they might go to prison and learn how to, from their perspective, be a better criminal.
right. And that's a little bit of why um they put in these good behavior incentives to they when you read about it, they talk about not wanting the prisoner to be around like so much in prison so long that they would become like bitter and they would be more violent toward other inmates. So in my mind, I'm thinking, so in essence, they're saying exactly what you're saying. It's just going to make them worse instead of help rehabilitate them.
Yeah.
But we know that they're not being rehabilitated. We know that, and I don't know all the data that shows, but for sex crimes, are you rehabilitating these people? Really? I don't think so. No.
Well, uh, the Reform Act that they're now playing with there in Washington.
Hmm.
Uh, when we think about reform, we have to deal first with the fact that uh, the prison system is a business,
Yeah.
which was why they went to privatizing the prison system because they turned it into a business. Well,
Mm.
in order for that business, and see, when you're in business to make a profit. And the whole criminal justice system is involved with the fact that the more people you put in the prison system, somebody is benefiting from that. And
Right.
when you look at who's going to prison, is us.
Right.
We, and then someone will come along and say, well, if you do the crime, you should do the time. Well, I've used that phrase myself, but at the same time, I also recognize that there are a lot, or there is the lack of a lot of resources in our communities that if they were in place, many of our people would not be going to prison because they would learn how to be productive people of society if the resources were available in the community where they could learn to be productive.
Right.
In our high schools, they took out things like shop and things of that nature, where you learned how to do something. Well, as we evolved, you can still learn to be a carpenter because they still build things. But then you could also go into computer classes because now we're in a high-tech society. So why not have those skills taught in our schools?
Right.
But then that brings up a whole nother conversation dealing with our educational system and the fact that our educational system is failing our community. Our schools are not up to par in many communities as far as meeting the educational needs of the students that go to school there.
Right. Excuse me. And it's been like that for many years. Many years. That's
Right,
why
for a
they
long
came
time.
up. Yeah, the idea of these magnet schools came up and the charter schools to try to help the kids get a better education. But I agree with you too that we need better resources to rehabilitate people and to prevent them from going into the system in the first place.
Mhm.
But that's not what they've done. What they've done is a lot of times, essentially, what they've done is create a situation that's going to guarantee that a certain number of people from the communities of color go straight to prison,
Yeah.
even from starting from teenagers, maybe
Mhm.
younger than that, that they go in as juveniles and then prison. So you're right, it's a big business.
And in certain parts of low income communities and so forth, a student that makes it and graduates from high school has achieved a lot.
Yeah, it's
Just
true.
getting out of high school, surviving high school. I remember it's been some years ago, but I used to work part time at Cooley High School. That was my second
Mm,
job as
okay.
I worked security for the Board of Education. They would hire off-duty police officers to work in the schools for security purposes. And I worked at Cooley High School. That was one of several high schools I worked at. But I worked at Cooley High School back when uh, Cabrini Green still existed. It don't
Hmm.
exist now, obviously.
Yeah.
But when I worked there, the 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 vast majority of students that well, all of the students that went to Cooley High School came from Cabrini Green. That school was set up to
Hmm.
accommodate those students. And you would engage them in conversation, and many of them, they didn't have any dreams past maybe getting out of high school. That was it.
Wow.
I would talk to the young ladies, and I'd ask them, well, are you gonna go to college? And they're like, well, no. After I graduate from high school, I guess I'll get on welfare like my mama, or like some relative they may have been close to, uh, because they had no dreams.
Hmm.
That there was they had no in, a lot of them had no incentive, or they had no one to really push them to say, you can do better than this. There is something outside of this world that uh, is available to you if you do XYZ, that
Hmm.
sort of thing. And that exists today in some of our communities. That even today, we have young people who that they don't have any ambition because they don't
Hmm.
have the role models necessary to show them that there's something better than the 4 or 5 blocks that you live in.
Right. Right. And
You know,
that's something that you said that we when public schools years ago we used to do field trips, and
yeah.
that was how I got to see a lot of outside of my neighborhood. We went on field trips, and I always just doing a couple of trips as a kindergartner, I was thinking, well, this is some place that I'd like to live, or this is something I'd like to do. Just being able to become exposed to more than what's right in front of you. So you're absolutely right about that. Just simple things like that can put that desire, that ambition for you to reach for something more.
hmm And
Right.
that gets back to the argument about resources. That was something that uh, exposed the kids to something other than their own neighborhood, because the field trip was always outside of their community.
Outside. That's
It,
right.
it was someplace that they normally didn't go to.
Right.
Another example that I recall, when I was working on the west side, I was the neighborhood relations sergeant for the police district at Kedzie and Harrison,
Hmm.
and we had what we call the Explorer Scout program that was for young people between, uh, I, if I remember correctly, it was 12 to 17 or something like that. And I remember we planned a trip to take them to the Dells, and probably 90% of them had never heard of the Dells, let alone
Wow.
been there. They
Yeah.
never heard of the Dells. So we got the business community together, and they sponsored. They gave us
Hmm.
the resources so that we could uh, rent the bus and rent the hotel rooms where the kids would stay. Long story short, I'm sure you've been to the Dells, but when we got to the Dells and we started going down Main Street, where you could see
Hmm.
all of the hotels and some of the activities that were going on, these kids' faces were plastered to the windows of the bus because they had never seen anything
Hmm.
like that. And just looking at their faces was amazing.
Hmm.
Just to just to see that. But then it comes back to we had to we had to figure out how to get the resources in order to expose them to
Hmm.
that. And
Yeah.
that was part of what we did, was to drum up resources so that we could figure
Hmm.
out activities for our kids
And
that
you
were
did
part
that,
of the
and
program.
you drew from the community to gather the resources. Is that correct?
The business people.
The
We,
business people. Right.
yeah,
Okay.
we
In the
went to
in
the
the in the
business people and
right.
explained to them what we were doing, what we wanted to do, and what it was. what it would cost, and they said, well, business person might say, well, okay, I can donate $200 or I can donate, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and we got the resources together to do what we wanted to
What
do.
you needed to do for the kids. Yeah.
But
Well,
it it was it was always a challenge to do that. But
mhm,
we also got the community, we got the businesses involved because
mhm.
my approach was if you're doing business in the community, then you should support some of the young people that come into your stores or your businesses,
Mhm.
or their parents come in to buy your products. Uh, Here's what we want to do for their kids, and we want your participation. I
Right.
mean, it wasn't strong arming them, but it was just letting them know you have a
Yeah.
responsibility here. You
Mhm.
have your business in the community. We want you to help us out because they're gonna write it off anyway.
Right. Yeah. They have responsibility to give back.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, just give back.
and that wasn't a lot that you asked for, and it was
No,
able to do something life changing.
and the
So,
fact that we could show them here's what we're trying to do, so that
mhm.
so that we didn't just walk in and say, we want a donation from you because we're doing XYZ. We actually had it written out.
Yeah,
Here,
you had your proposal. Yeah.
we had a
Hmm.
proposal. This is what we want to do, and here's what it's going to cost for us to do it. And we need your help to pull this off.
Right.
So,
Well, I think that the government bails out all these businesses who are rich and they can't manage to help the community, your citizens, your constituents. That's a shame. It really is, because even hospitals, almost any business you could think of, are they benefit from some kind of government subsidy of some type, even if it's
absolutely,
tax breaks, because tax breaks are huge. It's the reason that you're able to stay in business in a lot of cases. So they can do that for all of these folks, and just the regular people who need it the most are forgotten,
yeah.
overlooked. Yeah.
I heard I heard someone say once that, or they questioned, why did they take shop out of the public schools or take it
Mm.
out of schools, period? Because that was where you learn to do certain things. Or you look at
Mm.
a facility like Washburn,
That was
where,
well known for
well,
teaching,
not,
yeah, trades.
yeah,
Yeah.
for trade, the trades have not, there's still a need
Yes.
because you still have electricians and
Hmm.
plumbers and carpenters. Things are still being built. You now can add to that uh, technology. I mean, my son went to college to learn. He took up computer network building, and now he got his degree. And this kid. Well, he's not a kid, but he's my kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got an excellent job where he works, and uh, it's it's about building computer networks,
Right.
and that's what he
Yeah.
does.
And he'll be there'll be a demand for his work forever.
Oh, forever, as long as he
Yeah.
lives, anyway.
Yeah. And
Oh,
just
absolutely.
as you all the other things, all the other trades that you mentioned too, plumbing, mechanics,
Yeah,
carpentry, all of that's going to be needed forever, because those are essential for us to live. And yes, it's being overlooked. And it's a
oh,
shame, because
absolutely.
that's the huge chance to be self-employed or gainfully employed.
at least gainfully, if not
Exactly.
self-employed. The security company that I work several days a week for, they
Mhm.
provide security for ComEd. And I talked
Oh,
to some of those ComEd workers, these guys who get up in these cherry pickers and go up and deal with these high voltage lines. You know, these guys might make 50, $60 an hour, but
mm,
you gotta you gotta go to school for that. You gotta learn how to do that. But these jobs are all available because that is part of the infrastructure of this country.
exactly. Hmm.
And now they're talking about totally rebuilding the infrastructure of this country because it needs rebuilding. It's
Yeah.
100, 200 years old, and people don't know that between ComEd and People's Gas, they have a contract with the city. They're replacing all of the wiring systems that are in the city of Chicago. They're
Hmm.
replacing all of the pipelines that
Hmm.
are in the city of Chicago because they're they're putting in these new plastic pipelines instead of the old metal ones because they've
Metal.
worn out. They're 100 years
Right.
old. They got to
Hmm.
replace them. They're going to replace all of them that are in the city of Chicago, and they need people to know how to do that.
Right. Hmm.
And these guys get paid. They get
They
paid.
sure do. They sure do. I think I'm gonna write that down so I can research it and hopefully find enough information to direct people if they're interested in those types of trainings, where to find it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And even over at the school, daily, well, Altero Velasquez School, they have the IBEW has a class over there where they teach young people about how to be electricians.
Hmm. Okay. So, and that's
They have a
through the city
class.
college program.
Yeah, the city college program.
Okay.
Absolutely. Young people
That's
should
a
be looking into things like that. Daily College, they just built a new section of that school over on 76 and Pulaski.
mhm.
It's all centered. Uh, I don't want to. I don't want to. I know it has something to do with trades, but
Okay.
they built a whole new structure over there just for that.
Well, I'm gonna look into it and bring out whatever information that I can find and share it.
And I'll
So,
get something. I'll send it to you.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. All
I'll,
right, everybody. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We're just a minute over the time this time. But thank you, Clarence, for for coming and joining us. And MJ, I hope you feel so much better by next time. And that will be it for us for tonight. And to reach out to Shy Panther and Friends, you can go to, or you can email us at Shy Panther and Friends Show number one at Gmail. And you can check out the website, Shy Panther Media Group.org, or YouTube, Shy Panther and Friends Show. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourself and your neighbors. And don't forget to send us some information or send us any old message that say hi, or we like the show, or we hate the show, or whatever. Just let us know you're out there. All right, Clarence, that'll do it.
okay. I'll
Okay.
see you next week.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.